Hello and welcome to my personal introduction video, in which I would like to provide some relevant information about myself. On this YouTube channel I shall call myself Memir, partly in honor of my favorite frost giant. And while my genetic makeup may be half German and half Korean, I consider myself more of a Jotun as well. I have an academic background in biology as well as psychology, and happen to be a licensed cognitive behavioral psychotherapist, as which I have worked as for over 10 years, if you also count the time of the Ausbildung, that is the vocational training needed to become a psychotherapist in Germany. While I found the job of a psychotherapist to be oftentimes challenging, sometimes perplexing, and repeatedly severely exhausting, for years I thought it par for the course, considering the job. Well, until I got late diagnosed with Asperger syndrome, which is one of the possible manifestations of being on the autism spectrum. Getting the official diagnosis explained a lot, and I mean a lot, as well as revealing large portions of my life to have been a lie, or rather an illusion, in the sense of perceiving something as something particular, while it was actually being something else. That magnitude of disillusionment was, to use modern parlance, something of a big oof, in a life that was already characterized by a gratuitous sprinkling of oofs, both big and small. I strongly disliked my personal, carefully curated worldview to be proven wrong, much less come crashing down in one fell swoop, taking my mental health with it. So there I was, lying amidst the ruins of my own constructed view of myself and my life, feeling sorry about myself and trying not to get lost in a labyrinth of what ifs and what nows. But with time, just like the T-1000, the shattered pieces of myself slowly started to reform and reassemble themselves into a more or less functional form. As Jeff Goldblum, in his Jurassic Park role as Dr. Ian Malcolm, a mathematician specializing in chaos theory, said, "Life finds a way." So, I had my life, I had my now all that was left for me was to find a way or to make one. Coming back to my Asperger diagnosis explaining a lot, that included the tremendous energy expenditure needed to keep performing, and I mean that in both meanings of the word, as a psychotherapist. Now, while I personally loathe imposed changes on my routines, guess what that relates to? After weighing the pros and cons again and again, I decided to prioritize my health, and I was willing to pay the price for it, including not working as a psychotherapist anymore, no matter how well the job pays in general, how much I had to suffer through to actually become a psychotherapist, and how much the help of a good psychotherapist is needed nowadays. Not saying I was a good psychotherapist, but I'm also not saying I was a good psychotherapist. Currently, I'm in the process of branching out, and one such branch is this YouTube channel. As I mentioned in the welcome video, I'm not planning to earn any money with this in 2025. Depending on whether or not I gain a large enough audience, there might be something in the works for 2026. Now, there are many ways to gain subscriber numbers on YouTube, many of which I find distasteful and or unethical, so I won't be doing those. What I want to do instead is offer something of real value, at least real value in my eyes. something that might be a positive influence in the lives of people, something that enriches and that is both constructive and helpful, while also being sufficiently interesting for the audience I have in mind. Now, of course, in this day and age, I could produce content that makes use of my 10 plus years experience as a CBT psychotherapist. However, there's one big problem, at least for me. Working as a psychotherapist in Germany comes with a number of professional and legal obligations, some of which I find to be extremely tedious, obnoxious, and/or nonsensical. In short, something I want to avoid. I find myself highly motivated to avoid said unpleasantries by not engaging in any activity that could be construed as working as a psychotherapist by the authorities that be. Unfortunately, according to German authorities, that also includes talking about anything psychotherapy related on YouTube. So I won't be doing that. On that note, please don't ask me any mental health related questions on YouTube, as I will unfortunately not be answering them. My apologies. There might be psychotherapy related content coming in 2026, but definitely not in 2025. Now, what else could I possibly talk about then that is sufficiently interesting, enriching, constructive, and helpful? Doesn't psychotherapy have all the answers? It might have some very good answers to a specific set of questions, but to gain a deeper overall understanding of the manifold complexity of arising phenomena and patterns emerging and manifesting out of the underlying and all-pervading fabric of reality, and the myriad ways sentient as well as sapient beings experience, try to make sense of, and successfully exist therein? So what else could it be? Well, having come across some excellent advice in the vein of find something you can't shut up about and talk about it, as well as it being the age of the generalist, who can connect different, seemingly disparate topics, and can come up with original thoughts that may be of interest and benefit to others, here comes all the rest of me to the rescue. You see, true to Asperger form, I have a lot of different special interests, to such a degree that I'm unsure whether to call them specifically autistic special interests. However, they are definitely very nerdy interests. Comics, cartoons, dinosaurs, manga, anime, video and computer games, TV shows, movies, sci-fi, classical and modern fantasy, role-playing games, martial arts, history, mythology, legends, religion, philosophy, and last but definitely not least, science. So, the whole nerdy 9 yards. Or to use a more Nordic metaphor, the whole nerdy 9 worlds. Also, and you may have noticed subtle, barely perceptible hints, I like to read. A lot. So, there's a good chance I might have picked up one or two things besides. I could tell you what I have planned for this channel, but I prefer to follow the old maxim, show, don't tell. If you'd like, stay tuned for more of my peculiar perspectives and convoluted cogitations. As some sort of bonus content, here's a rather special fun fact about me. Some years ago, I had the good fortune of seeing the amazingly skilled freestyle rapper Chris Turner here in Germany. What he does is take suggestions from the audience and make freestyle raps about them. For years after, he repeatedly mentioned that the best suggestion he ever got was from a German guy who suggested the daily routine of an Aztec high priest. as can be seen in this video. Now guess who that German guy was? That's right. And that guy now has a YouTube channel. So, if you're interested in what that guy's brain might come up with in the future, stay tuned. So much for my personal introduction video. I hope you found it worth your while. Until next time, maybe.